This is Tarron with Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. We're on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the rein cow horse. Today we're doing a video with Copper. This is his 5th week in our program. We're going to go over 4 exercises that we've worked on this week, progressing him in this fifth week. Up to this point, we've been working on a lot of direction and a lot of just keeping his feet moving. So just making sure we have a gas pedal, making sure that he'll move forward off of our legs. I'll review some of that we've been working on. And so here at a trot, we've been working on these, just reviewing these straight lines and making sure that he understands this pretty well. This horse here, he kind of has the tendency to get distracted, and so it has taken repetition with some of the exercises we're going to work on, we've been working on. And so with that, being that he'll get distracted, kind of forget to keep traveling down the straight line, to keep moving out, follow his nose. We've spent a lot of time this week just traveling at a trot, traveling at a lope, making sure he'll let us steer him around, and he just keeps moving and follows his nose. So we just want to lope out. I'm not too concerned with him breaking gait or crossfiring. I really want him to just keep moving forward and follow his nose when I steer him around. So I want him to keep driving, through these turns. If he breaks down to a trot, we just let him commit to the mistake and then ask him to get back into that lope. Again, I just want him to keep following his nose and stay at this lope here. Wasn't following his nose, so he almost hit the fence. That's the importance of this exercise here, where they get comfortable at this pace in these corners. They figure out how to follow their nose. They figure out how to make these tight corners without breaking gait. We're going to keep working on this a while. Still, I want to make sure that all of that silliness, all of that just jumping back and forth, or we can get rid of all that stuff. We've been riding him long enough now that he knows better than all that. All he has to do is follow his nose. wanted to stop in that corner, so I just made sure he kept going. All of that crossfire and stuff is just simply him not, he stops part of his body when he comes around those corners, rather than just continuing to lope around that corner and drive around that corner. These are things that he'll learn. It would help him a lot too if he'd get off in that other lead, but he hadn't quite figured that out yet. He likes this left lead. But right now, the biggest thing, like I said, just making sure he'll follow his nose. Let him kind of come up here, rest a second. We're going to spend some more time in that pattern going to the left when we get the camera out of the arena. We can just work all four corners and just stay in going that direction. He's not wanting to follow his nose. That's all right. This exercise helps these horses learn to listen to us rather than what they want to do. What he wants to do right now is go stop where that out gate is and go home and go back to the stall. And this, makes this horse listen to what we want him to do. Where he says, yes sir, I'll go that direction. I'll ride around that way. And I'll stay at this lope because you're asking me to. And that's what we're working on right here. Now that we got him to the stage of riding in this lope, we're going to spend more time here. We're going to for sure make sure that we rest him over here on this side of the arena for a while. Not going to rest him out there by that out gate. See, he already has a pretty strong draw to that corner over there. Our objective is for him to follow his nose in the direction that we take him. That was better there. He follows his nose better there. And to stay at this lope to not be concerned about these corners when we start working on those draws that he has. And the draw is essentially a thing that he's drawn to or towards that is not us. And we combat those draws, same as being buddy sour or barn sour. We make him work in that area. We rest him. We rest him where he doesn't want to be. And so we're going to make it uncomfortable for him where he's trying to go. He's trying to go back to the barn. Another thing we're going to do, since we found that he's having trouble in this corner doing this part of the pattern, right? And so we're going to work on it until he gets better with it. And then once he gets better, like right there, I'm going to go over here and rest him a second. And so these horses, it's whenever a horse presents, I would say, a behavior that is the opposite of what we're wanting them to do, we just make the situation difficult. Make the wrong thing difficult. That's the thing he probably wants to do. And we make our idea the right one. And we make our idea the comfortable one. So right here, I'm just disengaging that hindquarters. There. He wanted to just keep walking around on his front end instead of disengaging. And so, there. We'll let him rest here a second. Overall, with that exercise, he's doing really well. So as I said, our objective is to lope all the way around this arena. I want, when I get up to a corner, I want him to be able to go deep into that corner as he continues to follow his nose, and as he continues to stay at that gate that I'm asking him to be in. Because fundamentally, as these young horses are learning how to do what you're asking them to do, and you're asking them to lope into this corner here, they start thinking, oh, am I going to hit it? Am I going to am I going to run into the gate? That it's a close space, and so those horses are not fond of that space. But if they allow us to guide them into these spaces and continue to stay at the gate that we ask them to be in, those horses will break through a lot of that resistance, and they'll be a lot more trusting. And so we're just helping them through that. And then, that's following this fence around. That's making sure we get deep into the corners. And then I want to be able to lope from that corner to the opposite corner, guide around the corner, and come back to this one and go to this corner, and make, where I can go to all four corners and they lope around the corner in a good manner, soft manner. They stay in the gate that I asked them to be in, so in this case a lope, and then they lope off to this opposite corner in a nice straight line. So that's our objective. as I said, we're going to make sure not to rest him and continue to go past any part of this pattern that they're having trouble with. If they're boogering from the fence, or if they don't want to go deep into that corner or anything like that, we're just going to continue going down that way until they get better. And then we'll go to the next section of the pattern. So like right here, this is the opposite of where he wanted to be. He wanted to be off into that corner in the back where the gate is. And so we have him sitting right here in this corner. This is the opposite of where he wanted to be, and let him rest right here. The next exercise we've been working on this week is gaining more control of his hip. And so we are yielding his hip to a stop. So this is, we're asking him to move forward. We worked on this some last week, but I pick up on the reins, and I disengage that hip. Now right here, I keep my foot on him until he moves that hip around rather than his front end. He's wanting to kind of just leak out. He's not really following his nose and disengaging his hip very well right there. He's trying to run off with his front end a little bit. But I want him to keep his front feet still and his hind feet pivoting around his front feet. And he knows how to do this. I get a few steps, and we're gonna go again. So last week we got a couple steps going this side, and so we've made some progress with it. All of these things, take some horses a little longer than others. Each horse is different. But the fundamentals is that we want to make sure that they understand. We want to work at it consistently and reward them when they try, and make note of that try, and make note of where we progressed to. So if we're working on this and we've gotten 2 steps, well, then we take note and we say, okay, we've gotten 2 good steps, now let's get 3, and we reward him for that 3, and then we continue on from there. Say, okay, now let's get 4, and then let's get all the way around. But at this point, I'm not going to let go. He's wanting to keep his front end moving right here, and he's just confusing it with bending at the walk. And so I want to make sure that I release when he's done the correct thing, when he's given me the correct answer, and that will continue to build his confidence. It's the same on this side. Disengage that hip. Wait till he stops moving his feet and get soft, and I'll let him go. So we can do this. Today we'll just do this at a walk and a trot. We can do it at a lope. Kind of roll my foot up his belly if he not wanting to disengage that hip, or if he's being kind of slow about it. Because at this point he knows, and so it's just reinforcing it. There, that disengage is a lot better right there. But this is, fundamental. Being able to get a horse to disengage that hip is important for lead changes, for being able to manipulate that hip in your cow turn, in your reining turn. It's important. Just having better control of that hip is important for everything that you're going to do on this horse later on. The more broke we can have these horses through their body, the better the next person will be able to do in order to get these horses ready for their next level of education. Okay, so just progressing. That exercise there is just more repetition, making sure that he continues to disengage that hip, to get better at keeping those front feet still as he moves that hip around his front feet. You know, some of this stuff we want to be able to help this horse understand and do this exercise, so that this exercise helps build this horse's muscles, helps build this horse's body to where they build the muscle and the size and everything that they need in order to carry our weight, be able to do bigger and better things as they progress and get bigger. So being able to work these different parts of their body is going to help these horses fill out. It's going to help these horses get strong throughout their body. And so it's all a benefit. So this next exercise here is just bending at the walk. We touched on this a little bit last week. You know, he's already thinking about following his nose around here. I really like how, you know, he's following his nose. He's walking around in a circle rather than just walking around, walking off, wandering off. And so here in a minute, we're going to do some transitions down to this from a walk, from a trot, and as we progress, we'll do it from a lope. But when I pick up on this rein, I press with my inside leg. So I press that rib cage at the same time. Me pressing with my leg is what gets this horse soft. And so I pick up, I give him that direction, but he actually bends his body, his rib cage, around my leg. And that is what gets that bend through that body. That's what gets that softness with his face, with his neck, throughout his body. That's where that softness comes from. It's not me sitting here cranking on him or pulling harder. It's using my leg in order to encourage that body to get soft and wrap around my leg. And so it's the same with this direction. I want him. So at this point, I put, when my hand is down here on my knee, this is more or less a neutral. I want this horse to continue walking around in a circle and following his nose to a point. And then I ask him to bend right here. I pick up on my rein and squeeze with my inside leg. As soon as he does, I give his face back. And I allow him to continue walking around this circle. And so this right here is a challenge for these horses. They have to learn to get soft. They have to learn to be soft to you. And walk around this circle at an arc with some softness through his body. And it's a little bit of a challenge for them. But, you know, the more we do it, the better they get. This is going to help this horse, teach this horse how to do any kind of turns. Our turn around for a spin or a cow turn. You know, that way we can have this horse bent up a little bit, shaped up a little bit. And we can, as we add our shoulder control, as we add a back up, we can encourage these horses to turn and move around well. But this is the foundation of that. So the last exercise here is attached to the one we just worked on. But I need him to trot off. This is the first time we've worked on it with this horse so far, so we'll see how it goes. I want this horse to trot off, to stay at that trot until I ask him to break back down, pick up on this rein, and I squeeze him to his rib cage, ask him to get soft, and then let him back into this walk. So it's the same thing. We are just initiating the bend from that trot, and the same thing from a lope. So it encourages this horse to slow his feet down and to get soft to us. It's going to be really good. This is a really good exercise for a hot type horse. That horse has to rev up into a trot, rev up into a lope, and then they have to come back down and get soft. That means they have to allow the tension, that tension out of their body. They have to relax enough to get soft. But I do it with all of our horses. It's just fundamental for everything that we're doing. Fundamental for all of our different types of turns. Fundamental for teaching a horse how to get soft. Just helping them get broke. Good. And he's done really well at that. Overall, he's done well. I would say the major points of focus for me going forward with him for the rest of the week is our guiding exercises. As I said, that has been a priority for me this week. Just wanting to get that better to where he'll lope around all of our corners, lope down a straight line, no problem. And so that's been a priority of mine. I'm wanting to get that better for him, and then continue to work on those other 3 exercises that we showed there. As I said, overall he's doing really well. That'll be our video for Copper for this week. As I said, this is his 5th week on our program. Overall, we're really pleased. So we'll catch up with you on the next one.